So in this video we're going to talk about dilations. This is another one of our transformations that we're going to have. And a dilation is the change in the size of the image. The image is either increased or decreased by multiplying the x and y coordinates by a scale factor. So remember we talked about scale factors in our last units. That means multiply. So you're just going to be multiplying each of those x and y values by a certain number, and it's going to change the size. So we could have a circle that starts right here, this smaller one, and then it becomes this larger one if we multiply it by a big number. Or if we start with this large circle and then multiply it by maybe 1/2, we would get this smaller circle to become our new shape. So starting to look at this example, and we're on page 4 of your packet, we have triangle ABC, and it has vertices A at 2, -2, B at 4, 4, and C at -2, 2. And it asks us to dilate by 2. That means we're going to be multiplying by a scale factor of 2. So right here for A, we're going to just take our scale factor for the x coordinate. Our x right now is 2, and our scale factor is 2. So I'm going to multiply 2, our scale factor, by the x coordinate 2. That equals 4. Our next x coordinate in point B is a 4, so we take our scale factor of 2 and multiply it by our x value of 4. 2 times 4 is 8. And then down here we're going to take our scale factor of 2 and multiply it by our last x value, -2. And 2 times -2 gets us -4. Moving on to our y values then, we're still using the same scale factor of 2. So we multiply 2 times now our y value, which was -2. And that's -4. And then we take our scale factor and multiply it by the next y value, 2 times 4, that's 8. And then our scale factor of 2 times our last y value of 2, 2 times 2 is 4. Last step here is just to write your final ordered pairs. So this was our x from each of these, and then we had all of our y values too. So we just have to write them as ordered pairs. This one is 4, -4. B prime is 8, 8, and C prime is -4, 4. So those are our new points for our vertices for this triangle ABC now that we've dilated it by 2. So it's going to be twice as big as that original triangle. Now in part B it says to use the same coordinates, A, B, and C from above, but this time we're dilating by 1/2. So when we dilated by 2 it got twice as big. This time each of those are going to be cut in half, so our triangle is going to end up being half as small. So same idea, we're actually going to use the decimal version of 1/2, and remember that's just 0.5. So we're going to say our scale factor, 0.5, times our first x value, which was 2, and half of 2 is just 1. And then we're going to take 0.5 times 4, that's our next x value. Half of 4 is 2. And then our last one, 0.5 times our x value of -2. Half of -2 is -1. So it takes care of our x values. Moving on to our y values, we use the same scale factor, so 0.5 times our first y value is -2. Half of -2 is -1. 0.5 times our next y value is 4. That's half of 4 is 2. And then 0.5 times our last y value, that's 0.5 times 2, and half of 2 is 1. Last step, rewrite all of your new points. So A double prime this time is 1, -1. B double prime is 2, 2. And C double prime is -1, 1. So that takes care of all of our calculations. The last step is to graph all the shapes. So I'm going to start off by graphing our original shape, and that was shape ABC. Point A was at 2, -2. Point B was at 4, 4. And point C was at -2, 2. Once you have that, that's your original shape, I would draw that in one color. And then go ahead and draw your next shape, or the next two shapes, A prime, B prime, C prime, and A double prime, B double prime, and C double prime. And then check your work with the drawing on the video. So here's the shape you should get for A prime, B prime, C prime. And then here's the last shape you should get for A double prime, B double prime, C double prime. So our original shape was in the green, and that started off as this green triangle, and then we dilated by 2, and that was our blue triangle. It got twice as big. And then our last one, we had to dilate by 1/2, so it got half the size of the original green triangle, and it is smaller. So all of our drawings make sense based on those scale factors that were given to us. Go ahead and turn to the next page in your packet and work on the 2 examples of dilating shapes on your own, and then you can unpause the video and check your work with what I have next. Okay, so hopefully you pause the video and try these on your own first. We have point E at 1, 1, F at 2, 4, and G at 4, 2, and they're asking us to dilate by 2. So this is just like our first example. We're going to multiply each of these points by a scale factor of 2. So point E prime is going to be 2 times 1 and then 2 times 1. That just becomes 2, 2. Point F prime, we're multiplying 2 times 2 and 2 times 4. That gets us 4, 8. And then point G prime, we have 2 times 4 and 2 times 2. That gets us 8, 4. So there's all of our new points, and we want to graph and label the original image and the dilated image. So I'm going to do our first image in one color and then our second image in the next. So our original points are going to be right here, and then we're going to graph our new image in a different color. So here's our new image. It was dilated by a scale factor of 2, so it makes sense that our original image was the smaller one, and the next one that we got was bigger because we multiplied everything by 2. Go ahead and try number 2 on your own. Okay, now that you've tried 2 on your own, let's go over how we do this. It asks us that we have a pentagon A, B, C, D, E, and here are our vertices. We're dilating it by a scale factor of 3 this time. So for each of those points, we're just going to multiply everything by a scale factor of 3. So here's the work for that. So here are our new points for that dilated shape of 3, 3. And then you need to go ahead and graph both the original image and the new image that's been dilated. So here are 2 images. The blue one is that original, those original vertices for pentagon A, B, C, D, E, and then I plotted the new points to find A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime, E prime. And just again, we had our scale factor of 3, so it makes sense that our shape got a lot bigger than the original shape that we had started with. Thanks for watching. Go ahead and stop where you are and take the dilations formative.